Yeah. I've recorded two massive parts to this week, but my microphone's been effing up, so I've scrapped. So you're only going to get half a podcast this week, unfortunately, because I'm not. The technology sometimes. Too many things going on sometimes, and it is what it is. Anyway, well, this is the SFS side of the podcast. And we got on to review a book first, to do with wrestling. Soraya book, as I've just got. I've just read the first 2 hours of the book, and it's a great book. A great fucking book. She's been through some shit. Like, I've been through some shit though, you know what I mean? So I can't really, you know, you know what I mean? It is what it is, You know, I've been through some fucked up shit, but it's the past, innit? So it's what's overdone is done. Can't dwell on the part. What's happened is happened. I don't agree with all this therapy shit, about go to a therapist and talk it out. Not because therapy is for bitches, no, just that I don't want to bring up my motherfucking past. I've procrastinated enough about it. There was one point in my life where I was procrastinating so much about it, it was affecting the way I functioned. I don't want dodgy things to come up. I've had a lot of dodgy things. Too many dodgy things that I never want to talk about. But it is what it is. Life can be very challenging at times. Very difficult. You can get involved with drugs and gangs and violence and, you know, other shit. The criminal lifestyle, them type of life I've been in. So, not deep in, but, I've been in the life, as an adult as well. Not as a juvenile, but as an adult. Very, different. Because when you're a juvenile, when you're a young kid, it's a game. But when you get a bit older, it's not much of a game anymore. The game gets very deep, and bad shit can happen, and lives can be ruined or lost. You know, and she's just describing how shit is in Norwich. Growing up. How she loves animals, and I'm not gonna go for. I'm not gonna ruin the book. I only read the first 2 hours of it, but she describes basically the sex tape of her, another wrestler, and two wrestlers. One I think was Xavier Woods, from New Day. Yeah, they had a threesome or something. It got leaked out to the internet, and she panicked basically because I think she had a broken neck or something, and she was really messed up on pain pills and sniffing coke all the time and stuff. So she got she had a nervous breakdown. You know, yeah. I mean, can happen to any of us. No one's above it. Don't matter how much meditation, how many psychedelics you do. you know, how much you build, how much you kind of, how good you are. You know, sometimes life can be very, very challenging, and sometimes you do not. You don't want to continue. Sometimes you want to just have it over with. If you know what I mean. Not like kill yourself. I mean, you just go to bed sometimes thinking, "Oh, do I have to live another fucking day of this shit?" It's happened to me so many times, too many times. Still does. So it is what it is. But the best thing though for me is having a lot of exercise. Obviously, not doing drugs like that. I used to do drugs like that. I was never a big cokehead because I couldn't really afford it. To be honest, a big speed head, but I weren't a big cokehead. I'd have coke a bit, but no, not a lot. And Saraya obviously has a lot of money from wrestling, so she can do that. But it's like speed's the poor man's coke. But yeah, what really messed me up was fucking speed and alcohol and ketamine. Them three really messed me up. Um, Weed messed me up as well, but it's because right with weed, what it is, man, it is you don't know what weed. Sometimes when you get weed from someone, you don't know what type of weed it is. You need to know what type of weed it is. That's the point with weed, and I've just learned with weed. For me, not for everyone. Everyone is different. Weed is very complex, man. So weed has messed me up, but I would never say that weed is bad because it isn't. It helps me as well. It's helped me as much as it's messed me up. It's helped me as well because if I'm not smoking weed, I'm an angry fuck. I'm not a nice person. I'm miserable. I'm always thinking about how fucked up I'm always thinking about the world, how fucked up the world is and different tribes and religions and all this bullshit that infestors the world so all the toxic shit in the world just comes at me a million miles an hour. You know what I mean? Sometimes. It's like once I have a weed, and it's not just when I'm stoned, it's actually after I'm stoned. I'll feel a relief. You know what I mean? It's like having one big long meditation. Not just weed though. It's swimming. It's martial arts. It's tai chi. It's yoga. It's going out with my dog on long walks in nature. And keeping myself occupied and trying to stay grounded and present. That you know kind of not fully grounded. We're never going to be fully grounded. You can't. It's like saying you get rid of your ego. You can't. Right? Alan Watts says it greatly. It's like, yeah, you stop desiring, but then you desire what? Then you still desiring because you're desiring not to desire. So you're trying to do nothing, and that will just make you fight with yourself. Trust me, because I've tried that shit so many fucking times. Tried to be present. Just keep thinking to myself, oh, I'll be present. And when I get angry or anxious, I'm like mad at myself because of it. So I'm like, nah, I'm not fucking, because I have this bullshit illusion in my head about enlightenment. And like, enlightenment is not a fucking, is basically, I don't know what enlightenment is. I've experienced some states of that. Some have been on psychedelics, others have been because I've been through such a fucking hard time that I had to get out my own head. Because if not, then something really fucked up would have happened. But homicide or suicide, that type of shit. So when it gets that bad, that can break you out. It's kind of like being born, just being born, like being a little kid again. You know what I mean? Like everything seems new. And like you switched on. As you notice with kids, like they're switched on. Like they'd play in the mud and they'd play with trees and stones and they'd have no concepts about themselves. Very little kids. You know, it's once you develop all these concepts and ideas about yourself, that's when you get stuck because not all of it's going to be good. And once you start relying on dualism, like the good and the bad, it's not going to work because not everything. More probably think, well, in my life, more things are really bad than good. But but at the end of the day, who gives a fuck whether they're bad or good? Just be with it. That's how I try. I'm not there yet, no. I'm far from there, but I try But I think all that and yeah, a bit of weed and psychedelics do. And obviously I don't fucking use psychedelics like a fucking madman. You know what I mean? What I do with psychedelics, yeah, is I have 3 grams twice a week, usually. Some weekends I take weeks off. And there's like 3 to 5 times a year I'll have a heroic dose. Like 20 grams plus. 20 to 30 grams. Yeah, that's how I do it. Obviously, and I don't go fucking mad like fucking Charles Manson or Terence McKenna. For fucking take heroic doses every fucking day because probably I'll fuck yeah it would I'll be in a mental institution. Yeah, definitely be fucked. But yeah, I've never had a bad experience on psychedelics though. I'm not saying that like I'm tough or anything like that. It's just the truth. As I've never with cannabis, I've had bad experiences on that, but not with psychedelics, no. Never with psychedelics, no. Fucking weird, man. I'm always really feel really good on them. That's why I take them, though. You know what I mean? I don't take them like some people take them, for spiritual enlightenment. I just take them just because it gets me out of my own fucking head for a bit. But that's what I think, and certain people, even myself, can get lost in that shit because they think, you know, it can make you worse if you cling on to that experience, if you know what I mean. If you just take that experience for what it is, it's just an experience. Yeah, it could have been a very enlightening experience. You could have felt one with the world. You could have felt like you're God, you know. But everything's God, you know what I mean? Because I don't look at God as anything separate. Everything is God. Everything of each universe is God. My own consciousness is God. Everything is God. And I'm not saying that because I've listened to some of these Buddhist Zen fucking, spiritual teachings, this hippy dippy. I've came up with that myself. SFS for life, you know. So, and that's not saying God's, because God can be very, very limited, you know. So God can be very stupid because, in my opinion, God is the devil. Not fully the devil, but that everyone is good and bad in everything, is what I'm saying. So God is the devil because the devil is the fucking. It's not a story, man. The God has a good side and bad side because God is everything that was created from this universe, in my opinion. In other people's opinion, he's Allah or fucking Christ. But let me tell this: Jesus Christ was not a Christian. I'm telling you this for now. Jesus Christ was never a Christian. Christianity got made, as well as Islam, to control the masses. They used Jesus Christ's spiritual awakening to bullshit people throughout years. Same with Allah, whoever Prophet Muhammad is. I'm not disrespecting anyone's religion. If you want to be religious, that's you. I'm SFS for life. But I don't play that religious game, you know. But I'm just going to tell you, man, religion is all bullshit to me. It causes too much bullshit in this world. Most of the wars and every, fucked up thing that happens in society, a lot of it has to do with controlled religion. That is, and they use this, and the elite use this, right? These people that support Islam and Al Qaeda and fucking Hamas and the other side, who are like the fascists and all that, like the Hitler side, the Christianity side or whatever, they all got an agenda, man. The people that are doing this have all made it up. Jesus never, no fucking religious person, the Buddha or anything, made this shit up, man. It was made up by some fucking egotistical, fucking narcissistic cunt who got together with a couple of people, and because they happened, because in this world sometimes well, back in the day it was kind of like survival of the fittest. So the fittest people would survive and they'll get together and create a community and a following like a cult. Like Charles Manson did and Jim Jones did, and brainwash people into believing this bullshit about something else that you can't see is fucking watching you. And I believe in mysticism, and that not everything meets the eye, that there's a lot more to what we see in our normal consciousness. But I don't believe that there's a separate God that's powerful than us. If you know what I mean. There's no God in a fucking white hat or in a fucking veil looking down on you telling you what to do. That is just a trap. I'm not telling anyone how to live their lives, but shit, man, come on, man. These fucking extreme, Islamic people, or back in the day it was really with Christians. Today it's more, Islam probably, yeah. Today. But yeah, they don't believe in it. You think Hamas or Osama bin Laden or any of these like terrorists will actually believe in what they're preaching? I bet you they fucking don't. They're doing it because they want power over the masses. So they do it in their own country to have power. So in Afghanistan, that's how they control the masses in Afghanistan. But this is the point, what the fuck has it got to do with us? Like, I find it insulting. I'm sorry, I do, when I see these Palestine fucking marches. That's why I don't go near Manchester anymore. I don't. Because I don't reckon Manchester is fucking. Oh, God. Man, I seen it the other day, not other day, weeks ago. And Manchester used to be, it's always been a dodgy place, Manchester. It's always been. Like, I'm from the Oldham part of Manchester. And that's one of the roughest places in Manchester. You know, there's a lot of drugs and a lot of crime. It's kind of dodgy. It used to be called Gunchester, Manchester. But it used to be run by gangs and gangsters, Manchester did. But now it's kind of run by these fucking crackheads and these woke fucking migrants. Man, it's hanging. It's like, what the fuck, man? Where are all the guys at, man? And then you got people that are homeless on the street, that have been born here, not sometimes not on their own doing, and they're just getting left. Just getting forgotten about, shot on, truggen on. You end up as drug addicts. So it's their fault, because it was my fault that I was a drug addict. It doesn't matter how the world is. Your choice. If you want to take drugs and go down that road, that's your choice. I've been down that road. I take responsibility for everything that happened, and all the suffering that happened because of it. That was on me, right? So, but what I'm saying is, there are certain people, English people, that either are very homeless or ill because they can't get help from the NHS, because there's so many people in this country, and they're neglecting the people that mostly matter, which is our homegrown. Sorry, but it is. We're a small fucking island, man. We can't be taken over like this. And people say, oh, I'm fascist, I'm fucking racist. I don't like fucking black people. What the fuck are you talking about, motherfuckers? You know what I'm saying? I don't care what colour you are, man. You don't come into this fucking country illegally and fucking take our jobs and fucking fuck up the NHS system. And it's not their fault, okay? They're not the main perpetrators. It's the capitalists, okay? The fucking government, them little rat bastards down in Oxford that are doing it. And they're letting it happen. But they are fucking controlling the country. I don't think an English person controls the country. And that fucking Keir Starmer, man, don't get me started on him. I'm telling you. How the fuck could he have a straight face saying, withholding that information about that kid in South Park? That is fucking... He should be put in jail, man. He should be in fucking jail. Really? Man, that annoyed me the fuck. That kid could stab 3 little girls up, yeah? And they withhold the information, show the picture of him as a kid. And you wonder why there was fucking riots, and then you call everyone that was with the riots racist. No, they weren't. Most of them weren't racist. They were concerned citizens like me, because they see what's happening. Like, it took me over 2 years to get an appointment with the NHS, and I was suffering every fucking day because of my gut was failing on me, right? I had mad fucking muscle tension all over my face and that, and I couldn't get rid of it somehow. The only thing was cannabis. That did it. And now I eat better. That's better. But what I'm saying is, back in the day, I'd get seen to, and they'd listen to you. It's like they forget. No, they don't give a fuck. And like, if that's the case, then don't have a fucking government. Because if the government's doing more harm than good to the people, then don't fucking have a government. Seriously. And if it was up to me, if it was a perfect motherfucking world, yeah, if this was a perfect world that we live in, I'd have it the Taoist way, yeah. I would have no law, no government. If everyone was conscious, though. But not, the world ain't ready for that. It's going to take at least 1,000 years. Because people need to, first of all, help themselves, help their own psyche and their own spirit. Once you're conscious enough, why would you want to hurt someone else? Why would you want to fuck over someone else? Why would you want to berate someone else? Wouldn't you just like to peacefully coexist with someone? If you're conscious and you're in a good place, and it doesn't have to be you're rich, it doesn't have to be you've got a perfect woman or a perfect car. It doesn't have to be anything outside. It can be just you're healthy, you feel good inside. You're with the universe. You know what I mean? Like you swing. You know when you go swimming, you have that state of flow. Like I had today, I had this state of flow. There's no thoughts going through me, just that state of flow, like I'm with, relaxed without fear, and just if that happened, like more and more people got to that consciousness instead of just worked up in their own. And like I said, I'm like that a lot of the time. So I'm not above it. I'm below. My conscious level, I think, is fucked up. And everyone says I'm autistic and ADHD and I was a drug addict and all that shit. But, yeah, in a perfect world, I would have it Taoist. The Taoist way. And that's most similar to SFS. Which it would take me all day going to SFS for life. But yeah, I'd have it the Taoist way, man. And they do, like in Japan. I've noticed in Japan, the fucking culture is very peaceful there. They have all these monasteries and you just go with the flow, you know what I mean? Just swing with the world, man. The universe is there to support you. Stop fucking resisting it. That's what I need to do. And people have happier lives and stop resisting, the way things are. Not that, I'm not saying that to say be passive. I mean the way things naturally are. The way the universe is, the way the universe works. Obviously, if there's oppression going on, and there's and or someone is fucking you about, or someone's trying to steal from you or hurt you, then yeah, then you turn into a savage. Got to. Or if you can't do that, if you're ill or some reason, then make sure you got someone who can help you out. You know what I mean? Because there are fucking snakes out there and rats out there. There always will be, unfortunately. But it's, yeah, that because governments, tribalism, it's just a load of bullshit, man. It's all a load of bullshit. You know, I'm not above it, but at the end of the day, come on, man. Just all this religion, all this right wing, left wing, it's just fucking bullshit. It's always has been. When has it ever done anything for the world? Never, in my opinion. Anyway, let's get on to the Soraya book that I wanted to review. You see, this is so much different from the Ronda Rousey book. Ronda Rousey, right? I was a big fan of Ronda Rousey when she was in MMA. I thought like she's like the trailblazer for women in sports. She really was. 10 years ago, she was the trailblazer. But that head kick from Holly Holm, she thought she was indestructible, but everyone gets beat. No one's indestructible. Everyone gets beat. Probably if Habib sticked around for long enough, he would have got beat. Probably John Jones might get beat by Tom Aspinall if they have a fight, which I hope they do. You never know, do you? The greatest of all time, John Jones, might be beat. But yeah, everyone gets beat, but obviously we all handle it differently, and she handled it a bit, not how can I say it? She didn't handle it the best way for herself, to herself. She weren't kind to herself, can I say? It doesn't matter about what other people think. She was just, being self pity is only going to affect you. So all she was doing basically was affecting herself by just staying in the pity. Which she said, I don't know because I weren't there, but she said she's stuck in a cave for years and years, and but then she gets to WWE and she can't. She takes it personally that the crowd are turning on her. I'm like, hadn't anyone smarted you up to the wrestling business that the crowd can chant through the fuck they want to chant, and if they don't, if they start booing you, then that's good. Same as they start cheering you because you're getting a reaction. It's when you get no reaction or you get that fucking that bad heat where people, like Roman Reigns used to get, where people just say fuck off, that fuck off heat. Like, no, you don't suck. No, it's not like people chanting Angle sucks and Angle crying and all that. And really, deep down, you're just laughing your fucking head off. No, it's kind of like that heat of fuck off. We just do not want to see your face. You cringe. Just fuck off, right? But Ronda Rousey was getting booed because that's what wrestling is, man. She wouldn't believe me if she was in the ECW audience. Believe me, then you'd know what a fucking harsh crowd was. You know, then she really would have been picked apart. So it's like she's complaining and blaming people over getting booed. I'm like, that's wrestling. That's got nothing to do with anything. You know, everyone gets booed. The best baby faces start off getting booed, start off as heels. But obviously she didn't get it. She took it personally. And then she just starts with this, this fucking self-pity shit. Which I'm like, I don't give a fuck. No one cares. Seriously. No one gives a shit. I could self-pity all fucking day about what happened to me in the past. You know, no one cares. Seriously. No one cares about my problems. No one cares about your problems. Just come across as a self-entitled, whiny bitch, right? And I got no time for people like that who are just fucking me, 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 me. Oh, fucking look at me, yeah, 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 yeah. Shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? So this book here was opposite. We only read 2 hours, but it's opposite because Soraya's been through some shit. You know, comparing her shit to my shit. Because, I've been through a lot of fucked up shit. And what I'm saying is Soraya has, which I didn't know about. It started off with a drug addiction and the porn thing. Yeah, that's bad. The whole world gets to see your most intimate, private moments, you know? Yeah, it's not really good, especially if you're not a porn star. If you're a porn star or a stripper on OnlyFans, then you don't really care because you're making money. I suppose, and yeah, you get freaks and weirdos watching you, but it's just part of the gig, innit, I suppose. You know? But she didn't, and I think she went along with it, but regretted it afterwards because she broke her neck, and I think she got deep into the coke and the pills and drugs and all that. So I think she feels guilty about what decision she made, and how her parents would look at it and stuff like that. And yeah, it's kind of very very hard, that type of shit. And she grew up in a wrestling family in Norwich. I've never been to Norwich. I don't think I have anyway. No, it's on the east somewhere. But it's like a typical town. Obviously, to be honest, it's not a northwest town. You know what I mean? It's you don't. I don't care what anyone says, right? But the toughest towns in England are northwest towns, right? And that's where all the poverty is, all this, the shit is, right? If you're from the northwest, you kind of are tougher. We've got that tough shit about us. Sorry, anyone else in the country, but that's a fact. You know that round Manchester, up near Preston, Bradford, Burnley, even Liverpool. That's where the fucking hard cunts come from. You know, it is. I'm not saying that they don't come from anywhere else because they do. Birmingham's a really fucked up place, and London, but it is. Come on, man. Anyone who lives in Britain knows that. And you give the illusion, of these fucking Yankees that with some fucking stuck up people who drink tea. I'm like, come to fucking Manchester, you Yankee cunt, and I'll show you what a fucking working class English person is, you dick. Won't fucking you Yankee cunt won't last fucking 2 minutes out here, mate. Serious, man. A lot of people around Manchester do not fuck around. I'm telling you, there's some fucking horrible, fucking scary, psycho bastards that I've met in my time around Manchester. Scary fucking cunts. Not talking about your little YouTube little rapper motherfuckers that you see, your little gay hair in your fucking rainbow shit. No, I'm talking about real fucking scarred up, fucking skinhead, whatever, fucking people that would turn your life upside down in 5 minutes. You would they could turn your life upside down. They could do things to you, shocking things to you that you would never get over. And they could do that easy to you. They could walk up in your house, take all your shit, fuck your bitch in front of you, and you wouldn't do shit. That's all I gotta say. But yeah, she come from Norwich, but I don't know a lot about Norwich. But yeah, she came up rough, and she had a godfather that was a gangster, which was I didn't know about that, called Mickey. I don't know what type of gangster he was, but it doesn't matter. He died in a very suspicious way of a heroin overdose. That's what they reported. But according to Soraya, I think it was a godfather or a dad's best friend, but it was a godfather. And this gangster used to get a present every Christmas. And like, he lived a dodgy life, so obviously that's how he'd make the money. But yeah, he'd get Soraya a lot of presents and that. But then one day, she got found with a needle in his arm, but he didn't take heroin. And the dose of heroin he had was so much that he would have been knocked out. He'd have been too fucked up to pull the needle out of his arm. So yeah, that's very suspicious. And obviously, because of the lifestyle he's in, yeah, probably did get murdered. So that's hard. If that's your godfather and you're young, what's you about 4, 5? Yeah, that I was exposed to violence before 1 years old up to 2 years old was the hardest time. But anyway, not going on about that. But yeah. So but she had a tight family though, and everyone from everyone from the neighborhood would come round, and they were the wrestling people, so they put on shows. And she lived in a pub. She said grew up not very not well off, kind of like most people in northwest England are not well off. What got me about her upbringing, I mean, the wrestling part of it was really good, and her love for animals was very cute. I think she's very cute. I think she. I always looked at Paige as being a badass motherfucking, a bitch that you don't want to fuck with. Because she probably beat the fuck out of me. But, she's got a very sensitive side to her. And she loves animals. I love animals. I've had dogs all my life. Because she weren't really into wrestling. She was more into animals and helping stray animals and stuff like that. This is her brother, she said, that was into wrestling. So yeah, she's got a very sweet side to her. So she loves animals and she seems very compassionate person, which matters. That's what matters. What disturbed me was the bit about this sexual abuse that she suffered from a guy called Toby or something, and about smelling his shit or piss all the time, and her and her brother getting sexually molested. I didn't know anything about that. But that's very hard to grow up with. I mean, I don't know nothing about that. I haven't been through anything like that. Not sexual abuse or anything like that. So I don't know. But someone violating you like that, when you're young like that and you don't fully understand what's going on, you can't process it until later on in life. Yeah, that can fuck you up. But at the end of the day, hopefully she understands that. Hopefully, she obviously she does, because she's fucking functioning person, isn't she? She wrestles now, doesn't she? Or, she's got over her drug addiction, so probably she's past it now, and hopefully she is, because that that's hard for anyone. It doesn't matter who you fucking are, that should never be happening. Whoever did that should be fucking killed for doing that to her. And I think she got the person back. She said that she got the person back for doing it to her. But yeah, I never knew about that part of her life. I didn't know much about Serena. All I knew about Paige was that she came from a wrestling family. Cause I watched a movie, and she was kind of like the start of the WWE Women's Revolution. She was the first really women's wrestler to get really respected as a women's wrestler, instead of a fucking sex object. So obviously you had Lita and Trish that could wrestle, but Paige really took it to another level, and in my opinion. And I don't know, she's round about my age as well, so that's I always looked at her as being older than me, probably because I'm a nobody. She's a successful wrestler, I suppose. You know. But yeah, very young age, she's been through all this stuff. But yeah, it's a great book. I'm just like at the 2 hour mark on it. I'm gonna keep listening. But yeah, it's the opposite to Ronda Rousey's book, which shouldn't be called Our Fight. It should be called Ronda's Fight, because no one gives a fuck, and you're just talking about yourself. And I don't give a shit about you. You understand? No one does. So stop it. Stop with the whining. That book was so fucking hard to listen to, man. I almost wanted to kill myself at the end of the book. Seriously. It was just fucking... Seriously, when she started going on, man, with herself. I hate books like that. This is what I mean, man, about watching certain things like P.S. Morgan debate. That fucking shit sets me off. When I watch that show. And you just have people talking bullshit. And yeah, they might be clever and might be probably cleverer than me, but they're not getting anywhere. Like, you're saying the same shit and you're just different views, but you're arguing with each other, but you're never getting anywhere. Because what's being done about the problem? Nothing. Debates don't solve shit. That's all I've got to say about that. So try and stay away from listening to Piers Morgan. Try and stay away from listening to fucking news. It's just fucking depressing. And it sets you off, you know what I mean? It sets off that amygdala shit, you know what I mean? And one other person that I don't like watching is Mr. Milky. I'm just going to keep it at that. Mr. Milky. Yes, that guy. He knows who he is. Ha! You probably don't know who I am. But you're all fucked around with my head, Mr. Milky. And I'll tell you that with your fucking bullshit. All I'm going to say is he's got a bald head. His last name is Guru. He's got a big pencil neck. And he speaks in the dark. That's his video. He just speaks in the dark. And he speaks about psychedelics, fucking epistemology, whatever the fuck that is. See, I'm not clever. I don't know what the shit fuck it is. Spiral dynamics. Fucking being God. And other shit. But the guy is... I recommend for anyone. I'm not saying don't listen. I don't believe in cancelling anyone. I believe if you're offended by watching something or listening to something, don't listen. It doesn't matter. Alex Jones or anyone. I don't like listening to Alex. Well, I don't listen to Alex Jones, but I've heard about him. Yeah, he's a dick. But I'm not in. I'm not for counselling people. But you do get offended by certain people. Like, certain people piss you off, man. Especially today on YouTube, and it's like, don't watch them. Just try and I'm just saying this to myself. Like, catch yourself. Like, catch myself in that. Just know, if you go down that road, you're gonna go down that. You're gonna go down that road, and it's gonna be hours and hours, and then probably the next day it's gonna affect you in some way. And you might snap at someone because you're angry because of what this person who you've never met, who you don't know fuck all about, or they've never met you, don't know nothing about you, but you've let them affect you. You've let them block your chi, your energy. You've let them toxicate your entire energy system. So obviously sometimes you need to kind of watch the news if, like, say, COVID's happening, or, well, not too much, but, or World War III or something, which you never know could be happening. They always fucking say that though, don't they? I'm just saying, if it's World War III, then fucking get on with it. Make it quick. That's all I say. Stop fucking putting fear into us. And that goes for both sides. That goes for the Trump side and that goes for the fucking woke side. Both sides do it. Both sides love to shove shit down your throat and create bullshit propaganda. The only difference with Trump is he's entertaining. Gotta admit that. He's fucking entertaining. And yeah, I do have a little bit of respect for him for surviving that gunshot. I do. I kind of, saying fight, fight. I just think that Trump really is a loudmouth New Yorker. I think I've said this on this podcast before. He's like, Vince Russo, just that loudmouth, not, cocky fucking New Yorker you just want to smack in the face. And yeah, he's been rich all his life, yeah. But I don't know, when it's saying that Trump is racist and all that, there's no proof about that, and he has met with, instead of, instead of fighting with these countries that would create World War III, he's actually talked to Putin and talked to Kim Jong-un. Like, no other president's kind of done that. And believe me, I'm not a Trump supporter. I'm just, I do kind of respect that. But, with him wanting to buy green, there's some shit that he says. I'm like, what? Are you serious, mate? Are you just fucking me about? Are you being serious, or is this part of a show? It seems like his whole life has been a show. But all our lives are a show, if you really walk deep. All our lives are an act. It's a fucking act. It's a game. Everything is a game. That's what it is. Everything is a game. Yeah, some games can get very cold. Some games are very nice to play. Some games aren't. But life is a game. Everything is a game. But yeah, Trump, obviously, I think, though, this time round he's got better people with him that can control him a bit more. Not let him go off the rails, say some stupid fucked up shit that's going to get all the fucking media going crazy, Because at the end of the day, man, these fake news media people, they're fucking laughing because they're getting more money. Because do you think how much profit they make on Trump? There's fucking gold for CNN and all them fucking media stations that are supposedly, against Trump, the fake news media, which most news is fake, in my opinion. But, they're fucking laughing because they're getting story after story and Trump's giving them it. There needs to be someone there to say, look, man, you're playing into them. Don't do it. And obviously stop him from doing anything that's a bit crazy, like you would any president, I suppose. But every fucking president or prime minister has been fucked up. Every. I mean, unless, because what it is they get endorsed. So it's not by the popular vote. Bernie Sanders has said this. That's the one politician I've never voted in my life, but if I had to vote and I lived in America, it would be Bernie Sanders, yeah. Because he makes sense, because he tells you that the number one problem in America is Medicare, which is true. It is. It's a bigger problem than immigration. Come on. I mean, America, man, it's fucking, you've seen the size of the country. I mean, this country's got an immigration problem. We're a fucking little island. America I kind of laugh about that shit, to be honest, because I'm like, yeah, but geographically, you haven't really got it. And I think, that, it's not like this country, but it's still out of control. Like I said, the Taoist way, but everyone's too split up, so you can't have that. But yeah, Trump does attack people, and who don't agree with him, and you don't really want a leader like that. You want a leader that's compassionate, and what I mean, like says he's sorry, kind of thing. Like that tells you a lot about a leader, that you can trust a leader if they tell you that they've fucked up. Because I've never heard, I could be wrong in this, but I've never heard a political leader ever say they're sorry or I got this wrong. They've always tried to justify what bullshit they've fucked up. And that goes for Trump. Trump's never said he's sorry for fucking up. And he has. You know, what he did to that family in Scotland is fucking horrible. You know, if anyone knows about it, he cut off the water supply to a 90-year-old family who lived in the Highlands in Scotland just to build a fucking golf course that is never fucking used and ruin their lives. So yeah, Trump is, he's that corporate, one of them rich corporate fucking cunts. Yeah, he is. I'm not gonna say he's not, because he is. But in this time, what would you rather, the wokeism or Trump? That's the thing, man. You got shitty choices. In this country is the same. You got shitty choices, man. Because what it is you endorse, like Bernie Sanders said, is people getting endorsed. It's not popular votes. You're not getting around and getting a popular vote. Because if you really got a popular vote, you'd have more options, and you'd know who really means what they say and who don't, by the fact that they apologise and they have the body language and the compassion level. You know what I mean? Anyway, I'm a bit serious today. I don't know why. I'm very serious. But that is the end of the podcast. There's only going to be half of it, probably 3 parts, because the other parts have been destroyed because of my microphone just fucking gone off and that. And sometimes it is what it is. Hopefully, I will not make that same mistake. But yes, I admit I have fucked up this week. And I've stuck to all my schedules, like my swimming, my martial arts, my writing, my book, and everything else. But things go wrong sometimes, don't they? But it's the best I could do. Anyway, I hope you have enjoyed this. This is not like me to be this serious and this trying to be as normal as I'm sounding here. I'm trying to sound normal. I'm trying to be a productive member of society. But yes, this is before the weekend. And the weekend, I get high. So I will catch you down the road next week. Now, fuck off.